A very good morning to you. It is the 10th of April 2026. Happy Friday. It's finally Friday. This has been a short week, but it feels quite long. Kumbuka tulianza wiki on Tuesday. Lakini today feels like, you know, the Monday in itself.
Wewe kama ndo umechoka peke yako. Me, I'm still very fresh.
Wacha nikwambie, let me tell you, I saw this conversation online. Nimechoka na tumechoka wengi. You know when they say if you rest for too long then you automatically get tired.
No. That's a negative way of looking at life.
Wewe unajua uko tu hapa 2 days. Sisi tuko hapa Monday through Sunday.
Unataka kusema kazi ndio imekuchokesha, si ndio? Umechoka na kazi.
Naona hiyo mdomo yako ya.
Maneno ya watu. Karibu sana. This is the Morning Cafe. My name is Freddy Ndimuli. This is a feel good Friday. A lot in store for you.
It is global work from home day today, by the way.
Watu wamechoka na kazi, wanataka kufanyia kazi nyumbani.
I don't make the rules. You know, this is the international, organizations that make these rules. So karibu sana, we have a very packed show for you today, and we're looking forward to you joining us to the very end. Interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube and X at TV47 Digital. Our WhatsApp line is also active, 0793-267-279. We'll be having the youth perspective today this morning, and the guests we're hosting, we have Jared Oye, ODM youth leader. We have Hans Rop, political analyst, Komu Gitonga, an MCA aspirant, Mwihoko, Ruiru sub-county, and we also have Ken Babu, Nairobi senatorial aspirant. We'll also be having the DJ later on the show. DJ Blue 254 will be here. Later on, Tony Kwalanda will also be here on the show with Her Excellency Janie Darin. She's the Australian High Commissioner to Kenya. And of course, Joe Montemuro, head coach Matildas. Talk about 2026 Women's FIFA Series right here on Morning Cafe for Good Friday today. At this point, let's take a look at the state of the weather. All right, let's see how the weather's looking this morning. We start off in Garissa. It's a cloudy day today. This morning is 26 degrees. Highs of 36 degrees expected there today. Kirinyaga, light rains expected. It's 17 degrees this morning. Highs of 27 degrees expected today. Busia, light rains expected as well. It's 28 degrees today, and this morning is 18 degrees. That's as far as Garissa, Kirinyaga, and Busia counties are concerned. We take a look at other areas, and we cross over to Kisii. Thunderstorms expected in Kisii County today. This morning is 16 degrees, highs of 27 degrees expected. Nairobi, it's likely to rain today, and this morning is 15 degrees, highs of 25 degrees today. Kajiado, it's a cloudy day, 16 degrees this morning, highs of 26 degrees expected today, and that's the state of the weather. All right, let's take a look at the quote of the day.
Always go with your passions. Never ask yourself if it's realistic or not.
Always go with your passion, Fred.
Interesting.
What's your passion?
I don't know. I have a lot of passion.
Which one tops the list?
Yeah?
Which one tops the list? The cream de la cream.
What I do here.
Yes.
Yeah. Whether or not I come very early in the morning.
Yeah.
I still do what I do. And I like it.
Interesting.
Mi sijachoka na kazi.
Actually, you know what mine is? Being a stay-at-home whatever. Yes.
Whether wife or side chick or
whatever. Whether it's a stay-at-home.
Then according to the quote, do it.
Do it. Absolutely. Let's come back and take a look at the stories making headlines today.
All right, let's start off with the People Daily today. because the People Daily has a very interesting headline on the front page. It's about Ruto and why he is still keen on the housing project. Cracks emerge in Ruto's housing project as workers protest delayed pay. They ask, is it collapsing? Yeah, this is very interesting given the fact that this is the president's pet topic. Affordable housing. Questions abound over the viability. And if you look at the inside pages, they talk about unaffordable stalled sites where workers demos over funds shortfall. A promise of dignified jobs made timely wages ends up in frustration, especially among laborers doing menial tasks at construction sites across the country in one of Kenya Kwanza's flagship projects. The president had promised that this affordable housing program will provide a lot of jobs. Hapo iko shida sasa. And that story is on page 4 of the People Daily. Other highlights on the front page of this paper. Senators pale chini devise new ways to deal with truant governors. Will they? Because I've not seen anything happening first. The governors, there's still that standoff. Governors saying they will not respond to summons by the various committees of the Senate. Pale juu, is Ishungwa standing in the way of a Ruto-Gachagua handshake? Now, this has been a big discussion, especially coming from that funeral in the funeral service for MP Keraho, David Keraho of Ol Kalou, that took place earlier this week, where a lot of things were said. There was an interpretation about what the former deputy president may have meant when he said that the president should find ways of working with people in Mount Kenya. Many people say that that was a suggestion or an extension of an olive branch from the former deputy president to his now arch-rival President William Ruto. I don't know why many people have that interpretation, but it does exist. And now, according to this paper, they ask, is Ishungwa standing in the way of a Ruto-Gachagua handshake? Do you believe that these two gentlemen can actually have a handshake at this point? I know a lot of things are happening in politics.
Who and who?
Regarding Gachagua and William Ruto.
There are no permanent enemies in politics.
Yes. And that Ishungwa is actually the one in the middle blocking it from happening. Well, that's a suggestion according to this paper.
Interesting analysis.
Yes, that's the People Daily today.
All right, straight to Business Daily. Raila Petrol Farm gets a share of G2G fuel deal. They say that a farm associated with the family of the late Prime Minister Raila Odinga has emerged as one of the beneficiaries of fuel deals under the supply contract between the government and 3 Gulf-based companies. BE Energy, where the Odinga family has a 35% stake, is among the selected oil marketers that have in recent months imported fuel under the lucrative government-to-government deal. And Kenya entered the deal with Saudi Aramco, Abu Dhabi National Oil Companies and Emirates in 2023. This is a story on page 2, quite an interesting read. There's a photo here of President William Ruto on the front page of the Business Daily this morning. Ruto declares war on Nairobi cartels. This is not the first time we're seeing him declaring war on cartels in the country. But again, what has been done, even as he continues to declare war on cartels in several sectors, health, now oil, the energy sector and all. And it's also the first time that a sitting president actually addressed the county assembly. And he was addressing the Nairobi County Assembly at County Hall yesterday. Yes, here in Nairobi. On the ticker, CAK deal approvals unlock 25 billion shillings investments in a year. Court paves the way for conclusion of De Geer's sale of stake in EABL. And uneasy US-Iran truce as Nairobi bows 101 billion shillings. They say that Kenya's stock market has added 101 billion shillings in investor wealth in the last 2 days after investor sentiment towards equities improved on news of a tentative ceasefire in the Iran war that has spooked global markets. And that's the Business Daily this morning.
From the Business Daily, let's take a look at the Daily Nation. A very disturbing headline there on the front page. Revealed counties asking for fat bribes. And they have the top 10 counties there. So they say a new report has exposed rampant corruption in government, revealing that the counties where officials pocket the fattest bribes, they rot in the magistrate's court, and our state jobs are auctioned to the highest bidder. Now, this report goes on to document how even magistrates make a lot of money from the small claims court. Apparently, they get a lot of bribes that tend to affect their judgment. But the most interesting, and this is where you I call you to take a look at that list of 10, top 10 counties and the average size of bribes paid to county officials. Listen to this. Kakamega is the highest at 79,305. That's the average bribe given to a county official in Kakamega. The next one is West Pokot at 16,400. Isiolo follows Vihiga, Garissa, Kericho, Nandi, Bungoma, Meru, and Elgeyo Marakwet. But it's the stark difference between what the average bribe given to a county official in Kakamega and the next one. 79,000, that's the average bribe. Kwani muna nini huko Kakamega? 79,000.
Kuna gold.
Where?
Kolomani.
The next one is West Pokot. This is very interesting. Is your county there? The bottom 10 counties, this is interesting. Counties like Mombasa, bottom, Nyamira, Kilifi, Baringo, Siaya, Kitui, Bomet, Kwale, and Murang'a. That's where the lowest bribes are given, but they still receive bribes and demand for bribes. So magistrates have extorted the largest average cash bribe from court users. So they say it's justice on sale, and this is very disturbing, meaning that justice is sold to the highest bidder. So that's the main story. And the national average bribe is 6,724, meaning that kila mtu ametoa pesa kama hizi. Kila mtu Kenya amebribe, according to this report. The other story given prominence is this assault on the Vihiga governor, Godfrey Osotsi. So 3 people have so far been arrested, and that occupies the bottom half of the front page of the Daily Nation today. 3 arrested of Osotsi's attack and more sought. The DCI announced yesterday that 3 suspects linked to the attack are in custody, even as pressure piled on more arrests, including masterminds. And the Embakasi East MP, Babu Owino, actually gave a longer list with names and location of some of these people that are believed to have been behind the attack on Godfrey Osotsi. The picture they've used here is a picture of the assaulted senator who's still in hospital here in Nairobi, after he had been visited by Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, the leaders at the Karen Hospital. So that story is still receiving a lot of prominence. We're still not getting rid of politics of Mount Kenya, especially after that funeral that turned into a face-off between Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto. Facing Mount Kenya, Ruto's rigorous riddle. That story is on the inside pages, Matters Politics. And White Treasury wanted KRA chief to leave. Ule jamaa anaitwa Watanga, sasa amepatiwa kazi ya ambassador. Wacha tuingie ndani tuone what else is big. There's a landlord who's landed in jail after a fatal building collapse. That's a story on page 3. A Nairobi landlord has been sentenced to 7 years in prison after his building collapsed in Huruma in 2016, killing 52 tenants. We've had so many such cases of buildings collapsing and killing people. Rarely do we see someone getting convicted. This is something positive. It's on page 3 of the Daily Nation. Your story of bribes inaendelea. Osotsi tumezungumzia, Watanga, and after that, yes, you can tell it is a Friday. Twende kule nyuma. Starlets face stand test. FIFA Women's Series 2026. Remember that TV47 will be broadcasting these matches live this weekend, so you can look forward to this. Starlets will be there, and they'll be facing Australia. Yeah, a star-studded Australia women's team featuring English Premier League stars in Nairobi for the inaugural FIFA series that will be held at the Nyayo National Stadium. And that, Kenya are playing India, not Australia. They're playing India tomorrow at Nyayo Stadium from 2 p.m. and that's the Daily Nation.
Osotsi is the main story on the front page of Taifa Leo this morning. Pressure kwa Omolo Osotsi. Upinzani wamtaka katibu wa wizara jiuzulu kuhusiana na kupigwa na kujeruhiwa kwa seneta huyu. Idara ya ujasusi DCI yawakamata washukiwa 3 wakuu katika uvamizi wa seneta wa Vihiga jijini Kisumu mnamo Jumatano. ODM pia yalaani uhuni huo uliomwacha kiongozi huyo na majeraha mabaya, huku viongozi wa upinzani wakimshinikiza vikali katibu Raymond Omolo ajiuzulu. The most interesting part about this is how DCI just unveiled the 3 faces, na kwa leta hapo, faces of shame, the alleged attackers of the Vihiga senator. Other quick headlines here on the front page. Kiini cha Ruto kukwamilia mlima. Rais ana matumaini atapata kura eneo hilo linaloonekana kuegemea upande wa upinzani. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 4. Sababu ya wazee kusahau. Jua kwa nini wakongwe hupoteza kumbukumbu kila mara katika jarida la Pambo. Habari iko katika ukurasa wa 13 na 17. Kama wewe ni yule wa kusahau, That is a special read for you. And matters sports as well. Barcelona and Liverpool mahututi. Miamba hao wa Ulaya wapigwa na Atletico na PSG katika duru ya kwanza ya UEFA. Na kule juu, Oburu wafuata nyayo za Raila kisiasa, naye wapokea wageni mashuhuri ofisini, quote and quote power, jinsi sawia na Raila akiwa hai. Na kaunti bingwa kwa hongo za fichuliwa. Habari hiyo tumezungumzia katika ukurasa wa mbele wa Daily Nation. Kakamega yashika nafasi ya kwanza kama ngome ya hongo ili kupata huduma au kazi. Gazeti la Taifa Leo.
All right, let's now focus on the Weekend Star. Something totally different on the front page. 10 billion shilling bad loans sink youth and women funds. That's a story on pages 4 and 5. And it talks about 3 flagship government funds designed to lift millions of Kenyans out of poverty have instead become black holes for public money. This is a new audit report revealing. The Auditor General Nancy Gathungu has in the dossier warned that billions of shillings in loans extended to youth and women groups for business boosts and startups are unlikely ever to be recovered. Pesa zinapeanwa lakini hazirudi. But this is different from the Nyota Fund. Ile ufai kurudisha, ile unafaa uanzishe biashara. Sisi wa Kenya ndio tutalipa hiyo loan ya World Bank. So Auditor General says the debt in question has not been serviced for over 3 years. 10B. This issue of debt, serious sana. Elsewhere, President William Ruto yesterday addressed the Nairobi County Assembly, and you have a picture of him inspecting a parade mounted by the Nairobi City Askaris before addressing the assembly at City Hall. And he vowed to demolish State House wall and riparian land. This was very interesting because you see the way we've been trying to, with the Nairobi River Regeneration Program, to reclaim riparian land across the city. One of those that was has received notice is State House. That part of the State House wall, perimeter wall, is actually on riparian land. And the president took the opportunity to give a promise to the MCAs that he will that wall will be taken down. Apparently, it has eaten into riparian land up to 15 meters in. Yeah. Sifikirie tuko peke yako, kuna wengine pale. Other highlights on the front page of this Weekend Star: magistrates receive, I think there's a problem. Magistrates receive highest bribes at 165,000 shillings as more men bribe police. Wanaume ndio mnapeana hongo kuliko wanawake. More men actually are bribing police than women, according to that report on page 8 of this paper. Kenya's telcos lose 354 million in SMS revenues over 3 months. That's another story there. Pale juu sasa. Trump amesema no to funding Kenyans' sex life and the male cut. Maswala ya kuletea condoms and circumcision, hiyo amesema that is not a priority of the US. Why are we funding your sex life in Kenya? They have better things to do, like fight Iran. Why should they be fighting and bringing you condoms and paying for your circumcision? That's the Weekend Star. And of course, it's a heavy paper today. It comes with a complimentary siasa weekend pullout where issues of zoning are now threatening the ODM-UDA marriage. You can read more on that on this Weekend Star. Fresh, independent, different. You can grab yourself a copy for only 60 shillings here in Kenya.
All right, let's take a look at the Standard this morning. Bitok grade 11 storm. That's the main headline here. Book was a fierce internal battle at the Ministry of Education has halted a 7 billion shillings textbook tender, putting next year's grade 11 rollout at risk. Award letters remain unsigned, timelines are slipping, and publishers warn any restart could derail supply. Exposing the government to lawsuits and leaving schools unprepared. The story is on page 4. Last year, we are still reporting that there were not enough textbooks for the grade 10 learners who just reported this year. So it looks like this is another storm, quote unquote, as the Standard covers it this morning. They've given a timeline here on the front page. August 19, 2025, there was a formal invitation to submit materials. November 7th of the same year, submission notification to publishers was given. And November 25th, same year, that was the deadline for submission of proposals. And December 20th, expected release of evaluation results. December 27th, that was the deadline for appeals. January 3rd this year, now KICD was to respond to appeals. responded to appeals rather. And February 6, 2026, submission of corrected copies. February 10th, official results release date per KICD letter. February 20th, printing and publishing window. And then May to July 2026, distribution to schools. And now they say that there is a fierce internal battle at the Ministry of Education, which has halted the textbook tender that is likely to put next year's grade 11 rollout at risk. That story has been covered extensively on page 4 of the Standard this morning. On page 2, they talk about Osotsi leaders pile pressure on IG Kanja to resign over Senator Osotsi attack. They blame the incident on a rising culture of political intolerance and, of course, unchecked insecurity in the country. And the Kalonzo Musyoka-led opposition cited delays by police in arresting those responsible for the assault. Other quick headlines inside the Standard this morning, they still talk about music festivals. Learners use stage to confront tradition and demand justice. Educators are praising theatres as a tool for, of course, inspiring social change. How Dubai-based Australian lost 78 million shillings in Nairobi gold scam is another story captured on page 8. That is Gabala Said. He met Duncan Okonji in Dubai last year and traveled to Kenya with him, and the dealers brought people wearing custom uniforms to convince him the gold was real. Very interesting story here on page 8. On the back page of this newspaper, Matter Sports. It's time for Slot to wake up and smell the coffee. Liverpool boss admits his team was in survival mode and lost to PSG. And Reds need to hit back in second leg at Anfield next week. And that's the Standard.
Yeah, there's a story on page 3 of the Standard, and it's how people, Kenyans especially, are earning big money from social media. So Instagram apparently ranks as a top payer in as far as social media is concerned. A report by Odipodev shows Instagram's top creators monetize 40.8% of their views, ahead of Facebook at 21.2% and TikTok at 12%. Well, TikTok remains the biggest driver and which receives more views. It is still not the highest payer. They're not even mentioning X, Elon Musk. I remember some years back when Elon Musk took over, many people on X were earning money. They're not even ranking here. Now, if you look at what people are earning, I'm telling you, I've seen somewhere the list of top earning influencers in 2025 is dominated by established personalities. Comedian Eric Omondi earned 57 million shillings. Munasema hakuna kazi. Followed by Ambare at 44 million. And then more Facebook at 35 million. There's a lot of money huko. Hata even comedy creators like Teacher Kalausi and Tom Daktari performing very strongly. Apparently, comedy is the biggest consumed kind of content and the highest paying as well. So, kama unasema hapo ati hauna pesa, ingia social media. Page 3 of the Standard.
Tuvuke boda sasa. Tuvuke
boda tuingie kule Uganda, masuala ya elimu. Finance releases 17.4 trillion shillings Ugandan money for Q4. Government registers more investments during election period. Matters budgeting there. Mobile money agent murder suspects aid in investigations. That's a new vision. Daily Monitor talks about that speakers battle, ex-outsiders fight for NRM bedroom. So Democratic Party President General Norbert Mao and Speaker Anita Among, who crossed over to the ruling party from the Forum for Democratic Change, have locked horns publicly over the race of Speaker in Parliament. The clash reached boiling point where the latter accused the former of trying to enter the bedroom. Yet, he's just a guest. Hii battle for Speaker in Uganda, it is such a big thing, I don't know why. Yeah? Mpaka president anaingilia. They're still at it. Meanwhile, in Uganda, the citizen suspects in custody over 148 billion shilling bank card fraud. Wamefikiwa finally wale wa Tanzania. Bank card fraud. 148 billion Tanzanian money. Meanwhile, Mwananchi, mafuta ya paisha bidhaa, vikao vya pishana bungeni. Ni zile zinazotumiwa kwa kila siku na wananchi. Wanabiashara wataja chanzo ni gharama za usafirishaji. Serikali uongozi bunge wajifungia. Bei ya gunia la viazi mviringo mkoani Morogoro ikiongezeka kutoka shilingi 55,000 hadi shilingi 68,000, 68,000 shilling for a bag of potatoes. Tanzanian money, yes, but it's still a lot of money. Gazeti la Mwananchi. So the oil prices, hata nyinyi wa Kenya msidhani that you're better. 14th will be on Tuesday next week. We anticipate a rise in fuel prices. Meanwhile, Tundu Lissu atimiza siku 365, that's a full year gerezani. Kampeni yaja kushinikiza aachiwe. Gazeti la Mwananchi. Twende kwenye karakacha sasa.
Tumesoma Citizen?
Tushasoma The Citizen.
Okay.
Hiyo bank fraud.
Okay.
Karakacha sasa tunaanzia wapi? Tuanzie Daily Nation. The Daily Nation cartoon on the Daily Nation today focuses on the crisis in the Middle East, Strait of Hormuz. There's a huge ship there carrying fuel na imebeba hata ule jamaa wa US Donald Trump. Lakini ule Khamenei anasema behave and it stays open. Anaitwa Khamenei ama anaitwa nani? Ama anaitwa Khomeini?
The new one? But still Khamenei because he's his son.
Okay. Yeah. Anasema behave and it stays open. Reopened after the ceasefire. Lakini if you don't behave, tunaifunga tena. That's a cartoon on the Daily Nation.
Stanos take people daily. The mountain is on fire. And the deputy president is there. It's a do or die show. That's Stanos take, of course, ahead of the 2027 election.
Treasury is a focus on the cartoon on the Standard today. This is about the debt that was to be repaid to, or the pending bills that many media houses claim from government. The Standard, the Daily Nation, a lot of media houses actually claim that they are owed money by the government. So this was part of the supplementary budget, but parliamentarians struck off. They approved a lot of other things, but they did not approve those repayments to media houses. So we have, on one hand, the media, walikuwa wametoa sahani wanangojea kupewa pesa by Treasury. MPs wakasema no, mbona MPs wanakuanga na
greed
na wanachukia media sana.
Say it as it is.
Mbona wasilipe tu media pesa zao?
It's greed.
Why say no to media? Anyway, hapo mmetufenya. That's the cartoon on the Stand.
Finally, the one on the Star, Osotsi, is in the caricature today. Ui, jamani mimi ni shemeji. Right, na wako hapo hao watatu. Goons Paradise, they call it.
Na wamenemiwa pale.
Dogo. Wild Boss. Yeah. These are the caricatures this morning.
Na polisi yako pale chini anakunywa tu chai. Yeah, shughulike na hiyo.
Pambaneni. These are the stories making headlines this morning as captured in the caricatures, and of course the headlines locally and regionally as well. We have traffic.
All right, we can have a quick look at the traffic situation before we give social media handles. Yes, and I'm looking at the major highways in Nairobi. Apart from the Pangani interchange, which is from down NYS, iko sawa pale, a bit of traffic there. Other than that, ni pale to Haile Selassie Avenue as you get into the CBD. Most other roads are looking green this morning.
All right, this morning we have the youth perspective here. We have Hans Rob, political analyst, will be joining us later on, just any minute from now. Jared Oye, ODM Youth League, Komugitonga, MC aspirant Mwihoko, and of course Ken Babu, Nairobi senatorial aspirant, will be joining me for this conversation. Later on, Tony Kwalanda will also be joining us on the show for this conversation on 2026 Women's FIFA Series. He'll be hosting Her Excellency Jenny Darin and Joe Monturo, the head coach Matildas. And of course, DJ Blues will also be here later on for Feel Good Friday with the weekend vibes. Our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. TV47 Digital on X. Our WhatsApp line is 0793267279. My handle is at @Ann_Dida. Be sure to tag us.
Yes, my handle is at Fred Indemulio on X, and make sure you use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47.
See you after the break.
A section of ODM legislators allied to the party's broad-based wing are now calling for an end to zoning debates, insisting that democracy must prevail within the party. Led by Suba North Member of Parliament Millie Odhiambo, the leaders argue that zoning should not even arise, especially in areas where aspirants have actively served and engaged their constituents.
Because why leave out ODM in Rift Valley, where we have presence? So it should be a liberalized market where you sell your product as much as you want without any interruption.
So I think those who are worried that want direct tickets are the ones talking about zoning. I think zoning is another name for direct ticket. And if indeed you have done your work as a member of parliament and a legislator, you should not worry about competing for nomination.
And so if there's a party position on zoning, I will respect the party position, even though I don't agree with it. That is allowed.
Another section led by Homa Bay Member of Parliament Peter Kaluma are calling for zoning as the party prepares to hold talks with the ruling UDA party. A section of ODM members in Mombasa vehemently opposed the plans by the party's leadership to introduce zoning before the oncoming general elections.
That we are against as members of ODM with the strongest term possible. You will kill the autonomy of the voters. The voters are the strongest people to make a decision. Why come with this zoning thing?
Must not be allowed to limit our option at the ballot. There is only one conversation we expect from the ODM leadership today. The conversation is how ODM will ensure that party nominations are transparent, free and fair.
ODM leadership is rooting for a 50-50 arrangement with the UDA government, automatically breeding the talk of zoning, which opponents say it will bring a resentment and weaken the party's grassroots support ahead of future elections.
We are moving a direction I don't like, which is disunity, disunity, disunity. None of us is Raila Amolo Odinga. We are all elected in our respective positions. Me as a member of parliament for Suba North and each of them in their respective constituencies. Let us respect each member.
This happening as the UDA team have their boots actively on the coastal ground, a long-known stronghold of ODM focused on capturing their support. As the debate intensifies, all eyes are now on the party leadership to chart a path that preserves unity while upholding democratic principles. For TV 47, I'm Linda Alela.
All right, let's have the same story on Peter Kaluma, just talking about zoning politics.
We will relate with any political party. And you know, we are currently negotiating between ODM and UDA on a possible pre-election coalition. Homa Bay is ODM zone, and it will be only for ODM, members seeking elections on behalf of any coalition, if we go to any, before the elections and even after the election.
That is the conversation you're having this morning on Youth Perspective. Of course, this is a show that engages the youth and gives them a voice just to hear what they have to say and where they stand on this zoning politics. This is mainly within and between UDA and ODM parties. But where does this leave the youth? We hear this often every time when during election year period, zoning politics and all. But where does this leave the youth? I have with me in studio Jared Oye, ODM Youth League. Thank you so much for making time, Jared. I also have Ken Babu, Nairobi senatorial aspirant, who is already in the mood. Shakwa Senator.
If you want something, you act like it. You must be intentional and clear.
Manifesting and all. That is the power of manifestation, they say.
Definitely,
Good. So, Hans, political analyst, is also here with us. And of course, we have Komo Gitonga, who is an MCA aspirant with Hoko Ruiru sub-county. Thank you so much for making time, gentlemen. So good to have you here this morning. But Jared, where do you stand in this politics, zoning politics? What's your take on it?
Thank you very much, Anne. I think we are a presidential system of governance. And this gives us a room to have pre-election agreements in most cases. Though in some rare cases we have had post-election agreements and coalitions being built.
Yeah.
And we are in today, I'll say, we all know that ODM, UDA are in conversation to find how we can work as coalition members together. We have three phases of zoning in our party, and think this we have done before, from the days in CORD, NASA, and even Azimio. We have orange zones, and they are well known. We have the coastal region, Western, Nyanza, some parts of Nairobi, which will say these are orange zones. And then we have swing vote areas. And then we also have areas, now let's say like UDA, we have the yellow zones that we know today that UDA is major area, or the area of strength is Rift Valley. And I think this threatens UDA's maybe turn of numbers from the populace or electorates. And that's why you find them, they're trying to infiltrate other regions that have been dominated and have been perceived for the longest time as orange zones. If we were to go for the zoning as we are putting it, which of course I support, we will check the strength matrix of individual party before maybe agreeing on which area. A good example now, let's say Ken is from DAPK or DCP, and then we from ODM and UDA in a coalition. When we are going to a coalition agreement, then ODM, let's say in an area, let's say Mombasa now, where ODM may be serving 60% strength, and then UDA may be serving 20% strength, and then DCP or DAPK comes with 30%. When these parties will divide the vote, UDA, ODM divides the vote, the DCP itapata nafasi kupita katikati. And this good example is my constituency in Langata in 2013. 2017, when Wiper ODM fielded a candidate, we were in NASA then. It gave Jubilee a chance to have a candidate who went through, that is in General Nixon Korir. And that's how we lost Langata. So if you're going to have an pre-election agreement with the UDA, and then we're going to field candidates in areas where maybe we are 50-50, 60-40 strength, then there are high chances that opposition or opponent political parties will have a chance to kupita katikati.
But Jared, in ODM, it seems there is a discord. You don't seem to agree. You're not speaking the same language when you talk about zoning politics. You're saying you're in support of it, but there are also leaders, top leadership in ODM party who are against zoning and everything in between. They say that this is undemocratic. It gives, direct tickets. There's lack of competitiveness when you're talking about nominations, and also they fear that it might just shut down new entrants. Then where is the disconnect in that party? The
disconnect comes when you say that we are now fighting, going to the table of negotiation that our reducible minimum is zoning. For example, now the Nyanza region or Western. I think these are conversations that we need to have at the far end tail of the coalition building and signing of the coalition paper. Today, if you're going to tell us that our bare minimum is Nyanza, that the friendly party that you are working with should not field candidate, it comes with a position of weakness for us. Actually, we have strength in Nyanza. Why do we need to fight so hard? Let me say Nyanza coast, Western, and some part of Northeastern, and even some regions in Rift Valley, Turkana, and maybe Narok. Why do we need to fight so hard to a point that we say that our bare minimum is that we don't need to have the friendly fire amongst us when we are truly having strength in these areas? And I'll support zoning in the areas where we balance, or areas where we find ODM is not having that 80% strength, maybe it is 40%, and then the UDA is maybe also 40%. In such areas, we'll have to zone and decide on one candidate will maybe run our flag in that region. But an area of strength is the same case now. Let's say in Nakuru, if UDA is going to have a presidential, is going to have a gubernatorial candidate, ODM in good faith, because we don't have that much strength in Nakuru, we'll have to support the UDA candidate in such area. But I don't see a point where now we are crying babies in Nyanza region, Western region, coastal region, areas of our strength that we don't need to give these people a chance maybe to vie. We have seen those areas. We need to go head on with them. But areas that we are balancing our numerical strength, we'll have to have the zoning in such areas.
Just hold on to that thought. Ken, what is your take on this zoning strategy as a political tool, you know, in the Kenyan political scene? This is not the first time we're hearing about zoning. It usually comes around the time when, you know, elections are just around the corner. Sometimes we hear, and it's usually just with ODM.
Yeah.
ODM is always looking out for, you know, parties to, or things to be zoned, counties, people, aspirants and all. What's your take on this?
Thank you. Zoning, we look at it in two ways. One, from the party level, and of course, from the candidates or aspirants level. And these are conversations that keeps coming, like we've said, keeps coming around the biggest party we've had so far, ODM. And when it comes up, they are always so keen to look at it and, of course, push and pull. But looking at it, zoning will entirely deny many people an opportunity to have their candidates at the ballot. And the ripple effect of that is likely to be voter apathy. Because as it stands right now, it's only Raila Odinga who could whip the entire Nyanza to vote in a certain direction. But as it stands today, there is no that one person, not even William Ruto himself, who can go and lower Nyanza and tell them that this is the direction. Everybody today has a candidate that they feel like it's an opportune time for these people to also get a taste of the leadership, so they can offer whatever it is that they can offer. So talking about zoning and zoning out other parties, then it means that those areas that have been zoned out will only have, one party to run with. So then if ODM decides to mess their nominations, then it means that other candidates will not have the opportunity to even field themselves unless they want to go independent. And you know, going an independent candidate is not an easy work. So where does this leave the democracy that Raila himself fought for a long time? Democracy dictates that people should be given an opportunity to offer themselves for choices of the majority. That is the citizens, the voters.
But we also know that Raila Odinga was also on record when we were alive, also championing for zoning. And case in point, that one, was it Madare or Madira, where the musician was contesting?
It was in Madare, where Bahati was running.
And he publicly, this is Raila Odinga, publicly announced that he had, you know, prompted another candidate to vie on the ODM ticket, and he was telling Bahati,
who was on Jubilee,
at the time, that they will give him something or a position in government.
Odida, let me make this clear, and my brother alluded to it. Nairobi as a county, if you are in a coalition, you have to agree which parties are fielding. For instance, in the United Alternative Government, as of today, the parties that are likely to have strengths in Nairobi is DCP, Wiper, and slightly Jubilee. But then these three parties must sit down and agree that if we are going to field a senatorial candidate and Ken Babu is our candidate, then we cannot have any other candidate running for the same seat within this coalition to increase chances of us getting that seat. Get that? Because if we have Wiper fielding, DCP fielding, Jubilee fielding, DAP fielding for senatorial candidate, then it means that if UDA or Broadbase fronts one candidate and they push him or her strongly, we are likely to go home. So a county like Nairobi demands strategic zoning, where the coalition will sit down and agree to produce one candidate. That is what happened to Bahati in Madare. Not necessarily Raila was crying that, but Raila was just reducing the
case. Ken, doesn't it lock out new aspirants or people who want to just vie for political?
I'm coming to that. So what happens is coalitions must sit down and agree and measure the strengths of these candidates and the strength of the party. And then they agree that this is the person we're going to field from this coalition. Because remember, the opponent is also watching. If today we are scattered and we have like 4 or 5 candidates in the united opposition going for Senate, and then Broadbase decides to give us just one, our chances are diminishing. So then we have to agree that it is Ken Babu for Senate Nairobi, and this is the ticket. If it's a coalition ticket, something similar to Azimio, and we go that direction. 2, counties that are not cosmopolitan, let's say Kisumu, Nyanza, Nene, if you take them to zoning direction, you are denying other people an opportunity. Because anyway, let me ask you, in Nyanza, even if you fielded the UDA, ODM, Nyanza is an ODM zone, it has been known as an ODM zone. Maybe after 2032 we can have that conversation. But if you just say, okay, Nyanza entirely is zoned out for ODM, remember there are people in that county, in those areas, who have been vying times and times, but because of the issues that have been happening in ODM, sometimes they were not able to reach the ballot. But this time they are seeing an opportunity to go to the ballot either through MDG, UDA, DAPK, and the other parties who can make sense, that can sell in the Nyanza region. So then if you zone them out, and you are in the same coalition, you are disenfranchising these candidates. And finally on that, the young people, this zoning necessarily affects them, because zoning, I look at it as financial zoning. Financial zoning. Because you find yourself in a situation where person A has been in politics for some time, they've muscled some resources, then person B entered politics, have the people, can make the influence, and they have what it takes to be in that position. But person A, in this case, have got the resources to put on the table and convince the party leaders and all those who make decisions to give them the ticket, whether they are winning or not. Now, what does this thing leave young people or fresh blood who are now looking for leadership position? They will not be able to competitively engage. Get that? Now, finally on that, I think this zoning should not be about regions. This zoning should go back to the political parties, so that they can zone certain positions for young people and for people to run for.
All right.
We have zoned out women positions for women.
Let's hear from.
Then now we need to zone out some
come back
positions
to
for
that
young
so that
people.
you can
Become a
expand on
Senate.
that.
Senate is a vibrant floor.
Hans, what is your reasoning in this
voice.
political tactic? Ken, we'll give you time to expound on that. It's a very good point, and this is a show for the youth, of course, to just give you a voice to talk about the things that you would love to see in the political scene. But Hans, what is your reasoning in this political tactic? What do you make of it?
Good morning to all of you. Actually, Ken has really tried to explain, but eventually he hasn't given us a serious solution. Let me tell you one thing. We are discussing zoning that happens today in the conditions that come in the country and how it affects the youth. Truth be told is that when zoning is discussed many times, more is about self-interest. Because any person who brings the discussion about zoning, they always bring it to maybe one a mind, their kind of state of being re-elected, or the famousness of their party in their region. And to me, zoning should be minimal. It's only on sensitive elections or maybe regions that are not predominant of a certain party. Like today, if the kind of by-elections we have today in Emurwa Dikir, we have a candidate for DCP, Edmure for UDA. It's a very sensitive election because you realize the region Kipsik is dominantly, but it is a narrow county. If suppose ODM today had a candidate, then now they can come together and agree as UDA and ODM to counter the DCP candidate. But when you study this zoning all along, is that at times somebody who has the bigger financial muscle is considered, or somebody who had a long, maybe experience of being in politics for some time is considered, which goes against a youth who could be aggressive. And for example, now for our brother Yaken, who is interested to be a senator in Nairobi, if today the divided opposition decided to come with a candidate, they will rather choose Sifuna, who's been fighting, other than my brother who is aggressive here, who can be a very good senator for Nairobi in the divided opposition, other than that now affects a youth, you notice. And that's why at times when we discuss here, I always say there are people who claim to be youths, but they're in their 40s, almost 50s. Like for me now, I would ask you, where is the position of a youth in the zoning?
Yes.
And if today a party has a candidate who is a youth, and they come up with a zoning structure that favors him, maybe if they do what you call opinion polls. Is the party ready to finance that person, or they will go for somebody who finance? And you know, we have situations in Kenya today whereby we have people who are financiers of parties. And at times, a party can give them rewards of such kind of calling them zoning against you. And at times they can say opinion polls favored, which are not public, just against you as a youth, who you could be more popular. So zoning, actually, I wouldn't go for it so much because there are many youths will be locked out. If you go to Nyanza, we are saying that, Babu had said that Raila used to maybe give a word and everyone votes in a certain direction. But we have a two-term member of parliament who is not from ODM. A Hapa youth gentleman. What is his name? From Lego constituency.
MDJ.
Yeah. It's not a member of, it's not a ODM member of parliament.
All right.
You get it. We have candidates, again, who today can choose to have an independent thinking. You know, at times if you are elected under a party, you'll always be summoned to decisions of that party. You might not take an independent thinking. So there are candidates today who might choose to say, we want to go under independent, so that when I'm in parliament, I'm able to defend and represent my people on an independent thinking. So at times zoning might affect a youth more who have certain decisions. So to me, this zoning is good for political image, for party, but it's not good for youth. It doesn't
Good
favor
for the
youth.
elite.
Let's assume I'm a new entrant into politics. How does zoning favor me? Remember, we were discussing just the case of this singer, Bahati. Bahati was denied a chance in Mathare to run with Jubilee. I still remember him crying on the TV. And I still ask myself, maybe that youth would have gotten a chance. You know, we've seen regions whereby it was predominantly UDA, like Nyandarua County, over the member of parliament who was buried. He came in with Jubilee. So we cannot say today that parties will determine the kind of leaders. We are in a position today as a country whereby we are wiser enough to elect person on his personality, not on party politics. Therefore, I think this zoning will affect us youth more. We want to feel that as you do zoning as the elder leaders in bigger decision making, what kind of zoning even on party leaderships and position nominations do you give us as youth? Where is our stake? That's what we need to put it into discussion.
All right, let's bring in now Komu before we get some feedback from our viewers on regarding the conversation you're having this morning on zoning politics. But Komu, this is a simple in idea, right? It's strategic. But do you think this is the way to go as a young person active in politics and who's also a political aspirant in Nairobi, the capital city? That is Mwihoko, Ruiru sub-county. Where does that leave you as a youth when you hear conversations around zoning and politicians going for, you know, people who they think should lead the party in a particular area?
First of all, good morning, Anne, and the viewers. Secondly, before I jump into the question, is to say hi to my constituents, people of Mwihoko, the great people of Mwihoko, where I'm vying as an aspirant, an MCA. And I tell them we're here to talk matters governance and politics. Secondly is to tell my friend over here, it is not the divided opposition, it's the united alternative government. So let's keep that in mind and keep that clear, that on record. Thank you, Anne, for the question. And one thing I will say is that politics have really changed. If you look at some of the elections that we had in 2007, 2013, and 2017. For example, in 2007, we had two major political parties. We didn't have coalitions. We had PNU and ODM. In 2013, we had that was URP and Jubilee, which formed URP and TNA, sorry, which formed the Jubilee coalition. And now the ODM, Wiper, and the other, was it Fort Kenya, that formed the CORD. And as we go on, you can see how politics have shifted from partisan or single party politics to now to coalition politics. So my focus mainly would be on coalition. How is the coalition facing or looking at the zoning issue? For example, mostly I'm leaning on to the United Alternative Government. And on our side, what we are saying is your political party popular? You cannot come to zone some political party that is popular. For example, DCP, where I'm vying with, you cannot come and say that DCP has the muscle. It has the power. It has the muscle, at least. It has some few numbers to come out and say, no, these are our numbers. For example, look at Embakasi, MP Mawathe. I think he was elected on a Wiper ticket. You can wonder, why is he the only member of parliament who is elected on a Wiper ticket? Because that's where his strength, the Wiper party strength lies on. Most of the people who support the Wiper party, who are mainly the Kambas, are usually there, and so they will support their candidate. So even if ODM maybe and Jubilee got majority of the parliamentarians in, for example, in Nairobi, you could see where they have muscle, where you have muscle as a political party, you are able to stand on to sit on the table with other political parties and negotiate. So even ODM, as they come and claim whatever they're claiming, and start saying, let them go and sell their party. That's where I stand at. And even in Nyanza, because I've seen the main issue is
Western Coast.
West Coast and their political strength. I've seen the issue, they're saying, if I'm not wrong, UDA should stick to their lane, to where they are supposed to lie, and ODM to be allowed to still remain with their political strength, which is Nyanza, Western Coast, where they. But if UDA goes there and is able to tell those people and talk to those people, because remember, political parties, you go and sell your political party. You go and talk to people. If they feel like your ideas is viable at the moment, maybe back then it wasn't. Maybe ODM back then was the main dominant party. But if UDA goes there and sell their agendas, if DCP, if whatever party goes there and people listen to the people who are talking about the other party, what stands in the way of those of that party fielding a candidate there?
Just we'll be coming back so that you can just expound on that bit. Where does this leave political parties who also want to just grow their base in these areas that some people, some parties like ODM, Kina Jared here, want to hold fort in? Let's take a very short break at this point. We're having the conversation with the youth this morning. This is Youth Perspective. Zoning politics is the conversation we are having this morning. You're watching Morning Cafe. All right, the conversation is already heated in studio. We're talking about zoning politics and where the youth stand with this. Do they feel that they are seen or heard when we're talking about zoning? Let's get some feedback from people watching us this morning. Victor Oriku Kukuni. Nikiwa Narok, it will only be a game for political deals. That is Victor. We have Daniel Joba Malele, and he says those are political deals that will not make it. Anthony Akure, political deals that are fruitless. Ras Bashir Were Wabusi anasema, I believe leadership should be based on merit and public trust, not on political arrangements like zoning. All right, Kareo Mondi says nothing like people's will. These are just political strategies for filling their stomachs more. Dominic Wanjala says they are cartels and there is nothing like that. All right, let's get more from our other social media handles. We have Kevin from Nairobi, and he says, he see unity. This is pure power struggle. Zoning ni excuse tu ya kugawana vyeo. All right, we have Wanjiku from Nyeri. I think zoning helps balance the country, but saa hii tension inaonyesha kuna hidden interests. Si ati wanajali wananchi sana. All right. We also have Otieno from Kisumu, and he says, let's be honest, ODM na UDA wanapigania influence. Wananchi tunabaki spectators too. Jared, this is a political power struggle between UDA and ODM, as we are hearing from some of the feedback that we're getting. Because now it looks like all of you, you're struggling for a particular area. And of course, Komo had hinted to a point that now what happens to these political parties who also want to grow their bases in these areas that you're trying to just hold on to?
Anne, we must agree, and first allow me use this example of USA, where we have the blue zones and the red zones. And the strength of political parties is on numbers, not only on the membership, but elected members. This is on the Senate, National Assembly, governors, women reps, and even MCAs. And let's say a good example, because this is a conversion between ODM and UDA now. When ODM is weaker or UDA is weak, in this case, to me, I believe weak political parties weakens our democratic fabrics in the country. And the strength can only be felt in the houses. That is one. Number two, as my brother, the gentleman from Kisumu puts it, I think it's not a power struggle, it's a strategy. And I'll answer that alongside my brother Anis when he said that there are those who are being zoned. But I'll tell you, following the Azimio 2022, the people who were given tickets, let's say a good example, which have been used time and time again here today, is the Bahati and Oluojo Madari. It was done on statistics. There's research being done. What was the strength of ODM in that region, Madare, and Jubilee in Madare? But it could have been good, maybe a good candidate, but maybe the Jubilee as a political party, which was a friendly party in Azimio, couldn't clinch the position of Madare MP. And that's a ODM zone. I'll come to again on...
About governor. About Tim Wanyonyi and Igade, who was stronger?
I think on the team Wanyonyi, Igade, and then we also had on our side, Azimio, Igade team. I think it was, there were some other agreements which were made there.
So it boils then to it locking out other
At times zoning is locked.
It was not
what candidates are locked out.
It was not locking the candidates. But I think these were political parties. One of us has put it there. These are political party arrangements. That's why we come into coalition. There's one thing that I think the MC aspirants has touched on. Since 2007 to date, all these political parties have been falling in the coalitions and alliances. And we are also seeing this in 2027. So we can't go into alliance without a strategy. We are going to these alliances to win. And we can't win if we don't have the numbers as well. A good example that Ken have used here, that for him to run in Nairobi from their opposition side, they must have they have the same strategy, just as ODM UDA is having it. I don't know why maybe people want to collapse this and put it like it's a Nyanza conversation. This is a Nyanza conversation. This ODM conversation that ODM zones remain for ODM. Let the UDA and other parties fill their candidates in the areas that they have the strength. And then the swing vote areas, those the areas that now we will have to do our statistics and research and polls to find the party with strength and candidates with higher stakes to win this position, given the certificate of the parties that have influenced such areas.
So as a youth leader and of course the ODM party, I wonder if you are aware of the party's position now that of course you're divided on whether to zone or not. Are you agreeing that you are going with UDA, this coalition, to zone these areas that you want? You don't want people to attack, you don't want people to take, say, Nyanza, Coast, Western. Is that your position, that this is what you're going for?
And we haven't reached the position. I think ODM, the DNS democracy, it is still open. This as something that we are still having, we say the self-conversation as a party. And that's why it has been open, people vent, or the ODM members and leaders are venting about it. Until then, the party haven't given their official position on the zoning. Once the position will be taken, then we will know. But today, I think it's a conversation that has been set, and the whole country is conversing about it. We, from within, as ODM, we also having conversation with ourselves. And that's why our leaders are doing it, the party members are doing it, the regional leaders are doing it, which we welcome. I think it's also an opportunity and a chance to collect the data that maybe later on will be used for the polls and other statistics on the decision to be taken or the direction to be taken by the party leadership. Until then, but today I think there's an open field for the ODMers, the leaders, and even maybe those the ODM friends to converse about it.
All right. Komu, you had started that conversation around this, just where the political parties now stand. If, for example, ODM, they want coast. Today you're going to get jabs because this is between and within UDA and ODM. They want the western regions as well. Nyanza, they have claimed it as theirs. Now you're saying, what happens to these political parties, as DCP put it, if they want to go to coast and just consolidate their bases in those regions? Where does that leave these political parties?
Thank you, Anne. I was heading to that point of, first of all, let me say, ODM will have premium tiers when it reaches that point, because UDA is a very crafty party. And if they will field candidates, they will field. If you saw the UDA when they had their aspirants meeting at State House, you saw the numbers of people who have registered from the Nyanza region, from the ODM zones, to be honest, were many. And people, if you see people willing to go against your the opposite political party that maybe once was seen as the dominant political party in that area, obviously people want shift, people want change. Well, I don't know what they will agree on the end, because I don't belong to that side. But what I will say is, as we move on, personally, I will say, and this is my personal opinion, let people meet at the ballot. Let people understand each other. Let people sell their agendas. Because at the end of the day, it's about selling the agenda. Remember, this voter who is right now is not the voter who was in 2007. This is not the voter who was in 2002. This is a new voter. this is a voter who understands what they want. And funny enough, you might find that even these political parties, as they plan and do whatever they are planning on their boardrooms, maybe even it's an independent candidate who will go in with to parliament or to wherever. So in their mind, and this is where I settle at, and this is where I'm still standing firm at. Sell your political party. The moment you sell your political party, people are the ones, give the people the will. Stop you as parliamentarians, stop you as the people who are vying, stop telling us that, no, we should have zoning, we should have zoning. Let the people decide themselves. And how will they decide? The best example would be maybe when they go to a coalition, they can have political primaries of the two different political party aspirants. Maybe UDA and ODM can go to primaries, and they see who will come out of those primaries as voters, as a winner, as a victor, so that they can know that this is our candidate now heading to the August 10th general election. But stop this push and pull of telling us these are our parts. Who said that they are your parts? Just because you have dominance in them in the few elections doesn't mean that those are your your parts. People can come and sell their agendas in the same different political parties, because I mean, what happens to the people who want to vie on a UDA ticket to be governor of Homa Bay? Just because Gladys Wanga is there and she's trying to be looking like the pusher of the or the chairperson of ODM now, you cannot tell someone that you cannot go and vie with the UDA, or leave alone even the UDA. You cannot go and vie with the DCP, because this is democracy. No, we are not here to talk about UDA and ODM alone. I mean, this is a country where political parties, we have so many political parties.
Where this leaves
we are not planning to be in condition with them.
He's talking about where this leaves political parties like the DCP and these other parties who want to, you know.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Stop this zoning issue. Stop the zoning issue.
Let me give you your time. Let's hear from Ken.
Let me weigh in on this conversation, and so that we don't deviate from the main focus.
Which is the youth.
The conversation is, where is the young people in this issue of zoning?
Yeah.
And I started by saying, and I'm very clear in my mind, that the conversation around zoning is not entirely about who fits where, but it's about financial zoning. Because take it or leave it, when that conversation will reach on the table, chances are that many young people who are running will not be on that table to even voice themselves and even stand in for themselves. There is a tendency in the political space of locking out young people. And I've been a victim before, where you are running for Senate and some old guy is also running for the same seat, but they are accorded special treatment just by virtue of age and some little influence. But both of you are candidates, both of you are aspirants, and you've done everything that is required for you to be on that level. So when this conversation will come, where is the young person in this conversation? Where does it leave the youth? And if you look at it keenly, to some extent political parties tend to push away the young voice when it comes to zoning. And you can tell me if I'm not speaking what's happening. We've had zonings before. How many young people were zoned in? In fact, those who are zoned out are the majority. And part of the reasons why they were zoned out, not necessarily that they were not in a position to win those seats or something, but it was what I call financial zoning. Part of the reasons why, part of the factors considered is, I mean, are you financially stable, but I mean more than the other person, you get that? But when you go to that direction, we deny the voter an opportunity to actually cast for their preferred candidate. And I said, looking into 2027, we are going to have serious voter apathy if we do not handle this zoning thing very well. Because these young people we are seeing, these Gen Zs that we are now seeing going to the ballot, to the polling stations, I mean IBC centers, to register as voters. Me interact with these young people. And I want to make it clear here that they are not necessarily registering as voters just to vote in other old and elderly politicians who have been in the space for that time. Their key mandate and their focus, and if you listen to their conversations, they are saying that this is going to give us an opportunity to also elect in our peers so that the young people can also be at the table of decision making and our voices can be heard. So when political parties are going to do the zoning and they're zoning out the youth, they should be guaranteed that the voter turnout amongst the young people will go down based on that zoning. That must be on record. So that when parties are sitting down to zone, they have to bring the young voices, the young aspirants who are on the ballot, these young people who have shown interest, like my brother and myself, on that table, and we agree. So that when I leave that room, I don't leave that room angered and incite my supporters not to show up. Because possibilities are there that if we leave that table unsatisfied and we move out there and give a contrary communication to what was given, there shall be a serious voter apathy. Finally, why are we zoning? Why is it that we're having this conversation about zoning? Each political party is looking for parliamentary strength. Get that? UDA would wish that they are the majority. Same case to ODM, DCP, DAP, WIPA, any other party is having that conversation. And it's not a conversation that is only isolated to, it's only isolated to Nyanza. It's happening even in the mountain. It's a conversation that is looming in the mountain between Jubilee, DCP. It's looming in the eastern side between WIPA and other parties that are looking forward to getting the opposition. And the concern is political party strength. And then the main thing that we need to look at when this zoning is happening, what are the factors considered? Get that? And where there's space of young people in this. And that's why I want to land by saying, these political parties also need to have a conversation on which seats can we zone out for young people.
All right.
Because it has never made sense to me for somebody of the age of 65 plus to go and run for a seat like an MCA. For me, looking at it, an MCA should be an entry level in politics. For that young leader, that president of a university who has served more than 60,000 students for 2 years, and now they want to enter leadership, but they don't have the muscles yet to run for MP. They should be guaranteed, given an opportunity to run for that MCA on a fair ground. So that they show the people that we can handle this leadership thing of the student leadership level. So let me finish by just making it clear that zoning is going to determine how many young people are going to turn out actually at the ballot.
And you'll be expanding on that as we continue this conversation, Ken. But I've seen, Ken, Hans, you're taking down some notes, and I'm interested to know, before you lose your track of thought, just so you can break it down for us, what you're jotting down with regard to what you're talking about. Also, the conversation around the mindset of the youth. Komu alluded to something, and he said, the voter now is not the 2007 voter. This is not the 2022 voter who used to vote on the terms by the party leader. If, for example, Raila Odinga, like Babu had said, that he would say vote for this particular person and everybody would go that route, then is that the mindset that the now youth is going on with into 2027?
Yeah. Han, I'm a UDA member. And I'm an interested politician in the near future. Maybe I'll disclose it, not as early as that is done.
Declare your interest.
But just to tell my friend here, the MC aspirant who thinks UDA is crafty, wait until you know the owners of DCP. But we are here to know in the coming days. I always love saying things.
Who are the owners?
Who are the owners? Tell us.
We know who's the party leader.
Party leader.
He's the owner of the party. In Kenya, let's be honest. If you think you are the owner of the party, we have an history. The people who have been chased out of the party, the people who own the party, and that's why these matters of zoning come in, and their friends are considered. If you want to know who owns the party, see who are nominated. You realize people nominate their children to parliament, to Yala. That's when you'll know the parties are theirs. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But just I'm still asking myself, what is zoning to a youth? Zoning is a dangerous thing to a youth. Despite the fact today I am a UDA member. And I'm going to vie on a UDA ticket. Today, I ask myself, what is the purpose of zoning? The purpose of zoning is to strengthen a coalition, which is good. But where is the chance of a youth in that coalition? We are not there. Why do these people bring coalition? It's because they don't want to get out of power. It favors those who are already in, the incumbents. So these incumbents favor themselves. By the time they are discussing zoning, they are bringing in something that will favor them to remain in power. If they knew they will not be elected, if they knew that all of them are going home, they will not pursue zoning. Zoning is for their intentions. Therefore, a new entry into politics who is a youth does not have a place in zoning. So what are the weaknesses? It weaknesses democracy, whereby we do not have variety of leaders available for a voter to choose the right candidate. We've said it gives barriers to new entries. They will not have freedom because many of them will be considered incompetent. And I remember in 2017 in Eldoret, a constituency called Turbo, a friend of mine called Tony Kiprotich decided that he was going to run on an independent ticket because UDA had 18 candidates, then URP had 18 candidates running under URP. And we had one candidate won who is not a Kalenjin. Therefore, the others are to come in and say, we must have our candidate, we will run. and they fronted another candidate who is an old person against this young man, just because a young man was considered that he might not have the muscle against the other
So
person.
a young person has never been considered?
Has not been considered. And also, you notice in that statement that it promotes tribalism. You go to a region like now, where my friend comes in, maybe it's predominantly Kikuyus, and we have a candidate who is not a Kikuyu. So a Kikuyu candidate will be favored on matter zoning, that he will win more votes because he's a Kikuyu. Whereas we have a Luo who is an MCA in a Kikuyu region here in Nairobi. So somehow, to my study is, a youth will not be considered much in this zoning. You try really to observe, it will promote, there'll be no merit. We'll not have a leader on matters merit. And you remember we were even giving a very good example for gubernatorial seat for Nairobi in 2022.
Yeah.
We had a candidate called Richard Ngatia, who was a former president for Chamber of Commerce, who had placed all billboards in this town. But because of zoning, he was told, you are not fit candidate. And we approached a candidate called Igathe for Jubilee. We had Tim Wanyonyi. You understand? So at times, it works against you. Some of us who are good in discussing everyday politics, we know Tim would have been a very good candidate for gubernatorial. So at times, it doesn't favor you. Then we had Sakacha and Bishop Wanjiru on UDA.
Yeah.
And they did their mathematics and said Sakacha will be more popular against Bishop Wanjiru, and they got it right. So at times, it can work. At times, it might not work. But more, it doesn't favor a youth.
All right. That question on the mindset, I had asked you that question about the mindset of the youth, the 2026 youth.
Actually, I forgot to
going
do that.
into 2027.
So let me tell you that the mindset of the youth is different. You notice this time around, youth were demonstrating to Parliament, taking head-on to the members of Parliament, telling them, you are the one failing us. This is not what we want. So it tells you, parties, it tells you this time around, youth would want to be elected to go into Parliament for independent thinking and independent decisions. Whereby many times, political parties' hacks doesn't favor. Because today, if I'm a UDA member in the House, it means whatever the party decides, I have to go with it. If I don't, I face disciplinary, and every other party for that case. You get it? So today, if you study now, if there is we talk of a party that is in opposition, for instance, now, and they don't support the government, and that candidate chooses to support the government, their party will discipline that candidate. You remember with ODM, the way they used to try and discipline like Naisha Chuma and so on. So it tells you, you'll not have independent thinking. So to my observation is that the youth, the photo of this generation now, of this time 2027 election, will want to vote a person on his character if we can trust you to go and display independent thinking in Parliament. So this zoning might not be there or here. We might be shocked to have a lot of independent candidates going into the House.
Let me weigh in.
Just hold into that thought. Let's get some feedback so that we can also weigh in on that. We have them in. All right, let's just take a minute. We have Amina from Mombasa says zoning ingekuwa sawa kama ingeleta maendeleo, but sasa ni siasa tu, hakuna unity hapo. All right. We have Brian from Eldoret. He says this is not about unity at all. Ni mchezo wa power. Kila side inataka control. We also have Njeri from Kiambu. She says, honestly, zoning is outdated. Kenya needs issue-based politics. See, hizi negotiations za nyuma ya pazia. All right. Zoning is outdated. Jared, you are in support of zoning.
Yes.
We'll be responding to what Jerry is saying. But we have more here. Ras Bashir is saying, believe leadership should be based on merit and public trust, not on political arrangements like zoning. Do you agree that zoning is an outdated political tactic, having in mind, you know, the young voter, you know, in the 2027, Hans had mentioned these are people who, you know, are in the political uprising in 2024, in 2025. Are they still going on with that mindset in 2027 that they want to follow suit with what their political leader is saying?
And these political parties, where we come from, it's a UDA, I think it's a DCP, I'm from ODM party.
Yes.
But again, I'm surprised when a UDA member votes for independent candidates, yet it's belonging in a political party. You talk about these people being independent, and on the zoning part of it first, we must agree that we zone after having candidates. We'll be having party primaries. I think that's the chance and opportunity for us to get right leaders in these political parties to carry our flags at the ballot. And again, we must also agree in here that, as Anas was putting it, when we get it wrong during the nomination, then we may lose it. And we from the ODM party, I think we are very keen nomination this time around. That's why we even reconstitute our election coordinating committee to look into proper nomination. And number two, we must also agree that, I think I've said it before here, that we do a lot of polls and statistics and studies around candidates and the party strength in such areas. To me, it's not tribal, as it tries to put it. Number three, is the youth getting locked during the zoning, or it is used against the youth?
Yes.
I see it totally different. If the youth is well placed, if today Ken is well placed to be the flag bearer in DCP for the Nairobi senatorial position, and then I'm clear in my mind that Wiper will not field a candidate. I'm pretty sure that Jubilee will not field a candidate when the DCP gives them a youth who has high chances of winning Nairobi senatorial position. If a youth wins the party ticket, then going into coalition with other political parties will have a reason to negotiate with them and tell them that this gentleman, this lady here, is better placed to win this position. Number three, on the same breath, to me it's not an outdated form of building coalitions. I've used an example of US, a very advanced, mature, democratic space that has been used as a litmus test and weighing scale for democracy. They use zoning, and that's why I think we believe in that they have the red zones and the blue zones. It is not outdated. It strengthens our democracy. Stronger political parties strengthens our democratic space. And I think that's why at some point from our party position we say, we have been telling our friends today that we are talking with, that please give us a space when telling our political parties. We don't need you to come in and try to influence how we operate. And this comes, I think, with financial independence that Ken has talked about, even within our political parties as well. That's why from ODM party we have been, for the longest time, we have been telling them, give us our money, we operate. We do our activities when strengthening this political party. And us having independent candidates is not bad, yes. But again, independent candidates, you will agree with me, that they don't fall in some of the committees. They fail to be in the parliament leadership, and this does not give you chances to influence the policies, bills in the house, if they are independent. I think you know that, because those who are belonging and falling in the political parties' leadership in the houses have upper chances.
So you're saying that independent
in the houses.
Just a minute.
In that party.
Just a minute.
How is a youth given a chance? Because we end up into an independent candidate because some of the youths are not given upper chance. Because if they are not, we will never have independent candidates if primaries are not shambolic. And if a youth is favored and has a chance in this zoning, then it will be a good thing to build up in a party.
Exactly. And that's why I'm agreeing with you.
Jared, also on that point, you say that independent candidates, sometimes they don't have, a say in parliament and, of course, in Senate if they're there. But then are you saying that now even in their areas, the areas they're representing, that they don't do much for their people, because that is the goal at the end of the day, to serve the people who voted them in?
Unless we forget the roles of these people in these assemblies. We all know the roles of the Senate, the roles of the senators and members of the county assemblies and the members of the National Assembly. We are not going to say that they don't serve. They do serve. But we also say that it comes with influence. I think with the devolved views that we have, and for the longest time from a party, at some point party that was telling us that we need to relook into the CDFs and so on. Their job of the people, of the representatives, is oversight, making laws, amending them, and so on and so forth. And me saying that the independent candidates at some point may fail to have an upper voice in the houses is something we all know. They get into the house and then they get aligned with the political parties. That shows how the house operates. And where we're sitting here, we are not going to use this one. I think this needs to get clear. We also have youths who are not having proper plan. We have youths who are not having proper aspiration, even for our own generation. We have youths, I'll tell you, who are more dubious and very confused and in the same political space. And they are coming up, yes. So we're not going to use youth, we're not going to use youth in the political transaction again and again. Let youths come out, tell us what they're going to do. Let them give us the plan. Let them give us their manifesto, you get. It will give us a chance to weigh them in. And my youth as well, I'm having aspirations. But again, we have those who want to use the tag youth. And we remember that this is one of the special SIG. It's the only special interest group that you stay in a period then leave. Not like women and people living with disabilities. So after some time, I'll not be a youth. So sometimes I'll be victimized later days.
I'm coming back to you. I'm coming back to you, Jared. But I do not want to lose my track of thought. So I just want to leave you with this. If you are a young person with political aspirations, you're in support of zoning, do you think you would stand a chance? If at all, of course, you're still in ODM, you're rising, and I'm hoping you'll stick by ODM, you stand on business. Would you stand a chance if you were to vie for a political seat, say in the cosmopolitan area where Ken says, you know, it's good actually for zoning to happen? Would you stand a chance? Just hold on to that thought. But Komu, you mentioned something about zoning as well, you being in support of it. I wonder if that is your final stand. But I'm now wondering, now that you are vying for a political seat in Nairobi, that is Mwihoko. I hope Mwihoko is in Nairobi, or is it in Kiambu County?
Next to Nairobi, neighbor Nairobi.
More or less the same potato, right?
Yeah, potato.
But if DCP right now are to say that, no, we don't want Komu, we are going to prompt another candidate to lead this party in Mwihoko, would you be okay with that now that you're in support of zoning?
Before I answer that, what would lead to DCP doing that?
Maybe they see somebody else who is more capable, or as Hans had said, that somebody has been in politics for a very long time. Ken had said something about that part. Also, Ken mentioned something about financial zoning.
Okay.
So these are just some of the things that they could be looking at.
So I want to look at it with two different ways. First of all, as a candidate, regardless if you're a youth, a woman, a disabled person, you're going in as a politician and as a leader. You don't want to have, personally, I don't want to have that picture of, you know, you're a young person, you know, no, I'm coming in as a leader. Before you look at me as a young person, look at me as a leader. So first of all, let's dismantle this looking at issues based on gender, based on age group, based on your ability, if you are disabled or if I don't know what. Go in as a leader. And so personally, as right now I'm an aspirant, I've declared my aspirations. So going forward, I am building my own strategies which will lead to me being elected or not. Other DCP candidates are there. Funny enough, we also have Jubilee candidates in Mwihoko. And we are all going, at this moment, build your base as a leader, as a party. And that's why I will go back to my previous statement of, as a political party, build your base first.
So for you, it boils down to political party and the person itself.
I said I will put it in two perspectives. First of all, as a political party and as coalitions. First of all, you cannot come and start talking of zoning too early. Right now, it's 2026. Let people build their aspirations. Let people build their base, their foundation. Then as we move on, you will handle, based in the different coalitions that maybe UDA and ODM will have their own way of dealing with zoning in their end. But in our side, we have been having conversation of let people go, that the different political parties after we have finished our political party of DCP candidates, going to primaries, after we have finished knowing that this is our leader, let now the other political party, let us go to the political primaries of the same area. Let one person emerge as the winner. And let other coalition parties that are affiliated to our coalition not field any other candidate, knowing now clearly that this is our person. Na aende mbele angengane na hiyo side ingine. But don't come here and start telling us, because, you know, I mean, that's even killing someone's dreams. You cannot come, and as I alluded earlier, you cannot tell someone not to vie in Homa Bay, for example. You cannot tell someone not to vie in Mombasa as a governor, because the person who is there, who is a governor, is the deputy party leader of ODM. And this person is coming from UDA. Let me talk now in their own perspective. No, let them go in the field. Wacha watu wamenyane kwa debe. Then from there on, watu watasonga mbele wakijua huu ni amekula hiyo, amechukua hiyo kura na tusonge mbele.
So you're saying we should not look at it from, you know, this is a young person coming into politics, but this is the voice that the young people are having right now. When you go on social media, where right now the young people are dominating and a lot of political education conversations are happening online, the youth are the largest voting bloc in this country, and they most likely will shape the election outcome come 2027. Then if you're telling them that, you know, I'm not coming in as a young person, but that is the term the term they want to use, that we're going to vote for you because you're a young person, we want to give you this chance so that we can see what you will do for the young people. Because most of this older people, this is another conversation that is being brought up online, that a lot of politicians who are policy makers, decision makers, they make decisions that they will not be here, they will not be alive to live in these decisions that they are making for these young people. Then if you're telling the young people that, you know, we don't want that conversation around, no, I'm not a young person, I'm just coming in as a leader, then where does that leave you as somebody who is looking at these young people to get votes from?
I'm saying, let me not be viewed. Okay, obviously I'm a young person regardless. Just because I'm
but
not
if you're putting them off, they say that.
But what I'm saying is, I'm saying that and because to avoid discrimination of wewe nyamaza we ni mdogo. Wewe nyamaza we ni mwanamke.
The youth are the largest voting bloc.
No, yeah, exactly. And that doesn't, I think you are not understanding me. What I'm saying is, just because I'm a young person, don't label me as, you know, obviously in the political field, whenever you come in and say, you know, I'm a young person, I need these people view you like you need mentorship. If
you're a young person with a manifesto, Komu,
I will come and sell it, and people will listen to me. But I don't want people to listen to me. Obvious people will view me as a young person, but I don't want people to view me as a young person. I want them to view me as
I'm getting your point. I'm just being stubborn. But can you wanted to weigh in on that?
Let me weigh in on this matter of young or not. One thing we cannot dispute is the fact that young people are going to run.
Yes.
For different political seats. And running does not in any way stop them from being young. Yes, being a youth is a period that will elapse. But until then, you are a youth. Until then, you must enjoy all the advantages that are enshrined for any young person to enjoy. We talk about, and I started by saying, we have women rep positions, which are specifically for women. We've not had any seat designated for persons with disability elected at the ballot. We've not had any seat designated for young people. So it's a conversation we'll have at the time, some other time. But the question that you are asking about the mindset, and I want to tell you, in the position where I sit as the chairperson of the Young People, the United Alternative Government, I want to make it black and white, that one of the motivating factors of many young people have engaged at the polling at the registration center is not going to elect the elderly. Based on what we experienced in 2024, and I was in the streets, and we've had conversations since 2024 up to now, the biggest motivating factor of these young people to register, other than taking William Ruto home, is the fact that they have confidence that they will go to the ballot and find people they can resonate with in terms of age and conversation about the future. That is their colleagues, colleague young people at the ballot. And they will have the opportunity for the first time to actually cast a vote for somebody they can pin down and they can reason with. We have many young people who are running with clear manifesto, clear agendas. But that doesn't mean that that does not stop them from being young people. They will remain to be youth until they pass that age.
You're young,
and I want to make
you're
it,
young
and I want to make it clear.
Okay.
I want to make it clear that going into 2027, conversation has already changed. And like my brother mentioned, the voter in 2027 is not necessarily thinking the same way the voter was thinking in 2022. They said that about 8 million voters did not turn out to vote in 2022, and majority were young people. This time around, chances are that majority of those who will go to the ballot, to the polling station to cast it, are these young people. And there's a point I'm trying to emphasize here, and I think the political parties also need to look at it. Because political parties only get parliamentary strength if people go out and vote their candidates. And this will be dependent on the type of party primaries and the candidates that parties are going to settle on. We are not saying that my brother here should be given a direct ticket, but he should be subjected to a free and fair nominations. Where whether he lost, when he loses that nomination, he can come out boldly and say that I've lost this thing and I'm not support this candidate who is on the ticket of the party because this thing was free and fair. But it would be unfortunate for him to be negotiated out of the race because some old guy came in with a bag. You see?
These guys come with a DCP ticket. I've come with a wiper ticket. So what are we are negotiating.
You are talking about
this is negotiation.
It's negotiation on
the primaries are fair. All right? He has a DCP ticket. I have a wiper ticket. And they're asking him to step down for a wiper ticket. Where's the chances of a youth?
That's what I'm coming to. The conversation of coalition, what do you call it? Zoning.
Yes.
And I'm very clear on this. You see, area like somewhere like in the mountain where my brother is running on DCP, if you take a wiper candidate there, chances are, you see, you also have to look at the thinking of the voters. Chances are that if you give them equal chances, the DCP candidate is likely to take that seat.
Will take the day.
We have a low MCA in Kiambu County.
Hans, you know, I want us to start winding up on this conversation. Hans and Babu, I want us to start winding up on this conversation.
So I agree with what you say.
I want to
but
get
MCA on
Jubilee ticket.
Hans,
Not on UDA, not on ODM.
The same way, Aluo given a ticket, a DCP ticket in Kiambu can easily be an MCA.
Ken Babu, hold on. I want to get your opinion on this, and as we wind up, Hans, do we have the voter in mind, especially the young voter, now that you're talking about the young person, going into 2027? Again, we've said this is not the 2022 voter, not the 2017 one, not the 2013, and definitely not the 2002 voter. Do we have that young voter in mind? Now that we are saying that these are the people going to shape the political decisions, the election outcome in 2027.
I'm worried. I'm worried we may not have. Because politics is another dirty game. And as a youth, we do not have a chance so much. Our elders really are really doing bad on us. Like, let's assume now we have a youth who want to be a president in Kenya. He doesn't have the power to run around. Even coming up with a party, financing, using job pass, you know. And we still have many remote areas in this country. There are many youth, even at us, there are many other youths who do not have phones. And there are those who have phones and maybe they cannot access power. We have many urban countries in the rural department. Even when I go home, I have friends who maybe want to buy them maybe a lunch or maybe send them some airtime. And they don't have phones. They'll give you an M-Pesa agent of the shop. And there are many. So you feel like a youth will not still have, as much as we are agitating for that change, a youth do not really have like that chance. But one thing I want to encourage a youth is that it is a work in progress. We are beginning a fight today that we want leadership that will always agitate for the youth. And as much as we feel like we haven't been really felt, we want to appreciate whatever the president has really done a little. And we are observing that he really has that interest and passion to have a chance to help a youth. Unfortunately, to study that, just as my last comment, you realize how is a youth affected in this thing all about politics. You realize even those who are not in agreement with the government who seem to fight the president by saying one term, you realize they are the whole who want to hide again under the fort over youth and to act like they are fighting for that.
All right, we only have 3 minutes and I want to divide it. We won't divide it, unfortunately. But I want you to respond to that question on would you stand a chance, and also structures that now would favor the youth. Now that Ken had also talked about that structures that now would favor the youth when you're talking about zoning, these positions that should be given to the youth, things like MCAs and whatnot. You can start us off with
Thank you very much. No,
in 1 minute.
In 1 minute.
Yes.
I believe that youth will stand a chance, and they must come out. You can't stand a chance in a comfort zone. And I'll use a good example of my brother, comrade Ken Babui, who has been out there doing something. That gives him an upper hand over another old guard somewhere who's sitting somewhere doing nothing. I think he has been forefront mobilizing votes. We can mobilize numbers behind us, behind the youth individual, youth candidates. That gives you a chance. When you go to a negotiating table, now that we don't have the financial muscle to negotiate, we'll have numbers to negotiate on the table with our party leadership and the structures that have been put. I think we must also agree that we're not going to use the youthful age as the bargaining chip. It will be so unfortunate for our nation. We must have a binding aspiration as a generation. I'll use a good example of the youths of 97 and 92. There was something binding them on the multipartism and so on. What is binding us today? It should not be age. I think that's why we are losing the focus as a generation. I think should be, and we have been pushing it to be economical liberation. And I think we are moving in there, as my brother has put it, that this is a work in progress. We're not going to sing Ruto must go and two-term. Those are not aspirations that can bind a nation or a generation moving forward. It's also very important to note,
as we wind up,
that we are going we are taking Kura. Youths are registered to be voters. But again, we are urging them not to be used as voting robots. It is so impressive from the political party I'm coming from. We have seen a number of young people coming up and interested in having the ODM ticket come 2027. We are urging them to come on board and be part of the leadership, not just part of the voting robot. All
right, Komu, before they eat into your time, just 30 seconds. What is your parting shot?
My parting shot is with 2 points. First of all, the youth of this country, I want to tell my brothers, the youth of this country have been binded by one thing, one term, wanting the oppressing of this government that has oppressed us to go. And that's what binded us to go to the parliament and go and march there and want to, those are not older generations, those were young people. Secondly, I want to tell the young people of this country, come out and vote, come out and go into these positions, come out and ask them. And don't usiekwe baridi na hii mambo ya zoning na nini. Go, hata kama ukiona political parties are not going with your side, go independent. Talk your head high and go to this position and ask them. They don't belong to anyone. They're here for us all. Thank you.
All right. I'll take that as a closing shot for the show. And Ken, as your parting shot, I'd take that as what you said, that zoning positions there should be zoning positions for the youth. And what you mentioned about MCAs and, of course, members of parliament positions.
And maybe if you just allow me say that...
30 seconds. If you eat into your time, my director will...
Let me just say this. Let me just say this. That for a long time, young people have been going to the ballot to vote for others. And 2027 presents a situation, an opportunity for young people to also vote for their peers. And I want to make it clear here that the elderly politicians who have been in the space for a long time, this time around, if you are not with the youth are not with you.
Exactly.
If you are not with us, we are not with you. And that's a conversation that we must sit down and have. The ripple effect of it will be felt as we go into party primaries and the subsequent elections. Thank you so much, Jared Oye, ODM Youth League, Ken Babu, Nairobi senatorial aspirant, Komu Gitonga. What did you want to tell them?
No, I'm telling him he could have finished one term.
Komu is an MC aspirant from Ruiru Sub-County. And of course, Hans, thank you so much for coming. I am grateful that you've made time for us to have this conversation on where the youth stand when you're talking about zoning politics. That brings us to the end of Youth Perspective this morning. Let's continue this conversation on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube and on X. At TV47 Digital, our WhatsApp line is active for videos and voice notes, 07 and 932 267-279. Where do the youth stand when you're talking about zoning? My colleague Tony Kolanda is coming up next with a conversation on 2026 Women's, if we can just have it on the screen, 2026 Women's FIFA Cup. Right, he'll be having that conversation right here in studio. You're watching Monica. For there we have it, 2027 Women's FIFA Series. Her Excellency Jenny Darin and of course Joe Montemuro will be here for that particular conversation. Later on, DJ Bliss is already on standby to give you some great hits as you kickstart your weekend. My name is Anodida. Stay right here. You're watching Morning Cafe.